everybody, and welcome to the wrestling show. If you didn't get the idea from the intro there, with us tonight, as usual, we have Mr. David Bowling, the Kingpin himself. How are you tonight?
Oh, good, man. Good to see everybody. What's up, Chris?
Yeah, who we got there in the chat so far? Got yourself and Chris from the 740 out there watching so far. So, evening, Chris. Oh, excuse me. So, how's your day been?
Oh, today's actually been pretty swell. I didn't have to work today. Well, I did my side job today, uh, and I only had to do that. Only took about 2.5 hours, so I got to do Caliber Corner this morning, which was a lot of fun. And then I was able to join in Rick's chat, but I didn't have enough time to actually join the panel. And then the rest of the day, I've been pretty much sitting around chilling, watching HB's live stream.
Yeah, I was kind of sleep when Travis was live earlier. My sleep with her surgery and everything, and her getting up in and out of bed all the time, and my sleep's just been so screwed up all week. So I've been getting sleep if and when I can. You know what I mean?
Kevin's out there. What's up, Kev? Good to see you, man.
Yep. Evening, Kev. So yeah, it's pretty much been what I've been up to. Trying to get sleep when I can.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. We don't got to go into it, but like I was telling you in the off chat, use the time to your advantage. Like I said, I don't want to get into it live, but use that time to your advantage.
Well, everybody probably knows my wife had to go in for surgery. She had to have a partial hysterectomy. They thought she was going to have to have a full hysterectomy, but when right before she was getting taken into surgery, when the doctor comes in to do the final consult and everything, looking over everything, they decided no, they didn't have to take the ovaries, just the uterus. So she only had a partial hysterectomy, which there's pros and cons. Pro, she doesn't have to take any of the hormone pills or anything. The con, she's going to have to deal with menopause later. So, you know, but that's how it goes. But yeah, in all seriousness, the less organs you have to have removed at any given time, the better it is. You know what I mean? So anyway, she's home. She came home that day. It was an in and out kind of thing. We spent the night at the hotel Monday night because she had to be there at like 6:30 in the morning. And Pittsburgh's a fairly decent drive, 2.5, 3 hour drive. So it was just easier to spend the night Monday night at a hotel up there, which our daughter and her fiance went with us, and they split the cost of the hotel room. So yeah, but now she's going to be she's off for 6 weeks or so. So while she recovers, she could have went back after 4, but because her job involves a lot of lifting and stuff, and they don't have light duty where she works, she's going to be out probably for 6. But yeah, there's the update on that for those of you who have been paying attention and know what was going on. I thought I'd start the show with that. Give y'all an update on how she's doing. She's fine. No, she hasn't had any bleeding or anything like that. So everything's good on that front. So yeah, where do we want to start tonight?
I was actually getting ready to ask you that exact question. Maybe not word for word exact, but the same point of the question was, what are we gonna, where are we gonna start? Are we gonna start with Vince, or are we gonna start with actual wrestling entertainment, or are we going right to the juicy news?
Well, we can start with Vince if you want. Yeah, I don't know how many of you have seen, but the SEC is also investigating the situation. And the SEC, in conjunction with the board of directors, have discovered approximately $5 million more that Vince McMahon had paid out to the women using corporate funds. So that brings the total to just about $20 million that if they decide to charge him criminally, he could be charged with embezzling from the company.
Now, the Security Exchange Commission involved, correct or incorrect, is
Yes,
actually a federal part of the federal government. They're
yes,
not
that
they're
is
not a private entity, right?
no, that is the federal government. That is the branch of government that uh, looks over stockholder, stock exchange laws, companies' earnings reports and everything. That all goes to the SEC, and the SEC is the ones that's like, hey, wait a minute, there's a discrepancy here. And when they looked into it farther, those discrepancies add up exactly to what Vince McMahon is being shown in the company's investigation to have paid out to those women.
So setting this up, Vince is potentially, allegedly, on the hook to the WWE for 20 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then he's obviously going to have to pay lawyers to help him fight this case. So that's going to be a couple $1,000,000, I'm sure. Then I'm sure that the government is going to want to look into this money and say, well, there's a giant portion of that money that you were supposed to be giving us.
Mm-hmm.
So he could be, you say, $30 million in before this is all over.
Well, there's two routes that the SEC can go based on their investigation. If they determine that there's criminal liability, they can refer the case to the Justice Department, which then would turn it over to the FBI to investigate on the criminal charges. And they can also turn it over to the IRS if they feel there's been some kind of tax evasion going on as well.
And real quick, let's go ahead and just address Gary's comment. He says, who wants to see Rich and Kingpin go at it in the ring? First of all, you can't break this team up. We are eye to eye. We are connected. We're like soul brothers in the ring. So you can't tear us apart. There's nothing that would possibly get me to turn on Rich except for it being advantageous to my career. So aside from that, and it being really beneficial to me, I would never ever turn on my partner.
Yeah, it really wouldn't be too entertaining of a match because you'd have a one-armed guy against a flagpole.
I guess I got a gun, man. Yeah, Vince sounds like he's in some serious financial trouble now. Obviously, there's criminal intent because you can't just do these financial crimes without criminal intent as well. So, and I don't care if you're talking about any of these FBI plush prisons. They're a lot better than Rikers Island, I'm sure. But I don't think Vince McMahon wants to spend the next 15, 20 years in Club Fed either.
Yeah, 15 to 20 would be a minimum because they could go after him on each of these payouts as an individual charge. So, see, when you're sentenced, there's two ways the judge can sentence you. They can sentence you where you serve all at one time, which is what the hell? I'm trying to remember what the term is. Um, damn it, I can't remember
Are
the
you
term.
talking about consecutive versus congruent?
Yes, so you can serve it congruently, which means you serve it all at one time, and then or the judge can sentence you to where you have to serve one after another, which is the consecutive sentences, which they release you and then put you right back in jail again. It's like the joke in basic training. If you're in the infantry, the only reason why you know you went from basic training to AIT is that your drill sergeant comes in one day and tells you. So if you're serving consecutive sentences, the only way you know is if your guard comes in and tells you, "Hey, look, your first sentence is up. Now you're starting your second."
Jason Stewart in the house.
Evening, fellas. How's it going?
Not too bad.
Well, I've had 2 flat tires in 2 days,
Oh, that
and
sucks.
not one tire store in town has my size in stock. So that's how things
Oh,
are going.
oh, yeah, that's really good. Makes things even not better. I tell you.
I started a collection of nails and metal things that I find at job sites, and it's already filled. What kind of bottle is this? A brisk iced tea bottle, which is, I don't know, 12 fluid ounces, I guess. And it's already full. I'm a knack Anywhere I go, I'll find a nail in the street or a tack in the street or a piece of metal that's going to shred somebody's tire.
Well, I had to use my spare, and it's got plugs in it. And the other tire, see, I went to work one day, and as soon as I got out, I could hear the air leaking. You know what I mean? And the tire really wasn't even flat or anything. I could hear it. So I found the hole. It didn't have a nail in it, but had a nail hole, so I plugged it. Everything was fine. Drove home. Next morning I get out. I look, tires pumped up full all the way. Everything's great. Drove to work, parked in the same spot. Got out, unloaded tools. Within 15 minutes, my tire was flat. I'm like, son of a bitch. And I go check, and it's another hole within 3-4 inches of the first hole, right? So I go to plug it. It won't plug. It still leaks. I put 2 plugs in that hole. It still leaks. I melted the plugs with a lighter that was on fire, vulcanized it to it. Still leaked. I was like, you son of a bitch. So I drive it. I pack up and leave work, and I'm going to hop, skip, and jump between gas stations and getting air to get home. I made it about 15 minutes. Tires done. Had to pull over the side of the road. Took me an hour and 5 minutes to get the tire off and the spare put on, man. Lugs were so tight it bent my lug wrench. Then the wheel wouldn't come off the truck, so I had to take it back down, jack it down. Had to drive it forward 3-4 times to get the wheel to shift, to break loose. So it was jacked up 3 or 4 times and moved, trying to get that wheel off. Got the old spare on. I can't find any tires. So the original one that I plugged, it now has 5 plugs in it. 3 in one hole, 1 from the original hole, and after I got the 3 in the big hole plugged up, I put Fix-A-Flat in it, and it was bubbling out another spot, and I had to put another plug in it. So if anything happens, I got a spare that's only got minutes of life left on it, man. So I'm like, nobody in town's got any tires, nothing. But get this, I ordered some tires from Walmart, and they're going to deliver them right here to the house a day quicker than delivering it at Walmart. And I'm good with that, man. So hopefully I'll have some tires here Tuesday.
Man, it sounds like you were hit by a rubber-eating termite.
Oh, dude, man, it's so bad. You could pick up literally probably 2,000 pounds. You could pick a ton of nails up at my work in 1 year, man. It's ridiculous. I'm so mad. I'm about ready to start taking a drill bit to these framers' trucks and just putting holes in their tires for the hell of it. I mean, it's ridiculous.
What up, Bernie? Yeah, dude, I don't like. I usually work if I'm working at a new house that's being built, like right now I'm working at a new house that's being built, but it's one house. And right now I'm the only dude in there. Everybody else is out of my way. Jason works on construction sites.
Mm-hmm.
And when he says he could fill up a 5-gallon bucket full of nails in a week, I could fill up a 5-gallon bucket full of nails in a week. And I work in your neighborhood. Like, I pull up to your development that has existed for 30 years, and there's nails all over your street. I don't understand how these construction workers, they must throw nails out the window as they drive.
They
throw them like confetti.
Yeah.
The guys I see, they got sloppy, loose work belts. Stuff flops all over. They grab handfuls of nails to fill them up, spill half on the ground right there. Of course, when you're working on a new house, you got the whole front porch, front of the house, perimeter, but everybody's got to mess around right at the garage door. That's where they got to hang for some reason. Spill all their nails. They take breaks. They just drop their belts off on the ground. Spill nails everywhere. Go to their trucks to leave. Take their belts off. I don't get it, man. There used to be, we got fined for that. I mean, they make a magnet with wheels on it, and you're supposed to clean up. They haven't done that for years, man, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen the supervisor yet. when I see him this week, I'm gonna race some hell, and uh,
Yeah.
I probably won't stop racing hell till I get to back charge somebody or somebody gives me some money for tires because I mean, I plug them at least a tire every month, and that's ridiculous, man. And now we're at the point to where I almost can't get to work because of the bullshit. So I'm pissed about it.
Yeah, like you were saying, man. When I worked construction, I didn't work construction like you guys did. We worked on corporate accounts and stuff. But if you left nails laying around and screws laying around like what you're saying these idiots are doing, yeah, we were in trouble too. You know, it's like you didn't do that shit. You know,
And I'll just tell you from experience, don't ever buy Goodyear Wrangler tires for your truck. They are like nail magnets, man. Just the way the tread is for those, they will pick up every screw, every nail, and flip it right in and puncture it. There's just something about. I've had them on day one, brand new tires pick up nails, man. I've had so many sets of them. Them Wrangler truck tires are the worst. There's just something about their tread, man. Those are just terrible for nails.
Defense Dad, Rob D, New York Outcast, in the building.
Hello, fellas.
Rob said he started using 10-ply tires, haven't gotten a flat since. Rob's a construction worker as well, so he's probably picked up a million nails over his career.
yeah. The reason why if we left nails and stuff like that laying around, we were in trouble because we always had machinery coming in, like cement mixers and cranes and shit. So if one of them had one of their tires get popped because like we had nails on the ground, guess who was paying for that damn tire? And those tires on those things aren't cheap.
But on the bright side, I am glad that they're mailing tires right to my front door. I mean, that's pretty decent. Didn't charge me any shipping either, man. Same price as sending it to Walmart, but I get it a day early, so I guess I can't complain.
And so have you heard what we were talking about as far as Vince McMahon, Jason?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hijack your chat with my misfortunes, but fill me in.
No, not at all. I just figured since there was a lull in the conversation, we could go back to wrestling. Vince McMahon's going to probably end up owing about $30-40 million if he's found guilty of everything. Because
Oh, wow.
the SEC is involved, and now they say that there's $20 million of money that he embezzled.
Yeah, I believe the exact number was $19.6 million. Close enough. You might as well just round it up to 20.
Wow, that sounds like jail time, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, if the SEC recommend and the board or the board of directors, either one can actually forward this over and request the Justice Department take over. Yeah, he's looking at serious jail time at this point. And yeah, I know everybody's probably thinking, well, he's a rich guy. He'll get Once you get the SEC involved, that's when the rich guys go to jail. Is when the SEC gets involved. You do not want the Securities and Exchange Commission coming after you.
Well, plus, what people don't understand about rich guys and spending money, I mean, like Elon Musk, for example. Elon Musk is worth $300 billion or whatever it is. So $40 million or $40 billion to buy Twitter is a drop in the bucket to him. But he can't just pull a check out and write a $40 billion check. You know, the government's got to be all involved in all kinds of stuff like that. There's entities that decide whether or not you can monopolize stuff. I mean, it's so complicated. It's not just easy for rich people to spend a bunch of money, and a lot of those rich people, that money doesn't even exist. It's all in assets and in
Right.
futures and all this other kind of stuff like that. Like if Jeff Bezos went to the bank and was like, I want to withdraw all my money, the instant he said that, the entire world would go black instantly. Like every economic system on the planet would fail because there's not enough money on the planet to pay him the money that he is worth.
And like you were saying, got to liquidate those funds because a lot of that money is taken up in artwork and house that you might own, or house that you're using as a rental property, or any number of different investments. That money all has to be liquefied, turned into actual hard cash before you can just go and spend $30 billion on something. Maybe he was going to crawl in your car. Yeah, I wish. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what I would do with all that money if I had it. Christ.
See, the problem isn't the money; it's the fame.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you could be worth $1 million and nobody knows you except for your close friends and family, and most of them don't even know you're a millionaire, then that money's not a problem. Except for, the stupid stuff you have to do to keep the government from coming after you. Uh,
Oh yeah.
Even if you're a quadrillionaire, if nobody knows, because there's plenty of billionaires out there that nobody knows who they are. It's that fame that has the media attacking you all the time and social media talking about you all the time and paparazzi taking your pictures and chasing your kids around.
On the taxes front, people don't realize how much taxes they have to pay on things until they have it, and then they're like, "Ugh." One of the worst things, one of the reasons why I said I would probably never go on a game show unless it's a game show where you actually win money. Like I would never go on something like The Price is Right or something where you win prizes, because every one of those prizes you're on there winning, you have to pay sales tax on. And
Right. And if you win a car or something,
mm-hmm.
you gotta have the money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hold on, let's be reasonable. The Price is Right winner also won a whopping $750 on that episode.
Not always. There have been plenty of Prices Right winners that didn't win a penny. They just won a bunch of prizes. And yeah, there have been people that have come out and they've been on like 2020 when that used to be a good show, or 60 Minutes when that used to be a good show, talking about how they didn't realize how much money they were going to have to pay in taxes, and they ended up having to sell just about every one of the prizes they won, including the car, because they couldn't afford the taxes on it.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Oprah Winfrey. You get a car, you get a car. All those people had to pay sales tax on those cars, right?
Yep, because they were gifts. They were gifts valued at over $10,000.
Now, here is the uh, really, I guess there's no answer. It's just really what you guys feel and you think. Is Oprah still cool for giving people a free $30,000, $40,000, $20,000 car? You still didn't have to pay anything for the car except for the sales tax, which is still, a decent amount of change or whatever. You got to ship it halfway across the country wherever you live at. Is Oprah still cool for doing that, or is she not cool because she could have also just paid all the taxes for all those cars so people could literally drive off with a free car?
She's not cool at all because they were Pontiac G6s
Oh,
and they
gee.
probably fell apart on the people and ruined their lives. So that's not cool. Plus, she
Yeah,
got a good deal on them from Pontiac, where she probably didn't pay much for them.
yeah.
So it's
Pontiac
probably
was
more of a
mentioned.
it's probably more of a tax write off for Oprah's billionaireness
Yeah, her
than it
company.
was a gift out of her heart.
Yeah, her company very well could have paid off the taxes. Like what Jason is saying, if the company paid off the sales tax on them, then that's a tax write off. So in that case, she may have paid the sales tax. I don't know firsthand if she did or not, so I can't say. But if she gave them the cars without paying the sales tax on it, yeah, that's kind of a dick move.
Well, see, that's what I was looking to see is where people felt about that. Because in my mind, if I'm stepped completely out and just look at the two situations completely unobjectively, they're both pretty darn cool. You gave I don't know how many people are in studio. We'll just say 100 people in your studio, a brand new free car. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, you got a free car, you got to pay taxes on it. You get a free dog from the pound, you still got to pay for all the shots and stuff like that. And I also see that, man, you're Oprah Winfrey and you're giving away cars, and Pontiac probably gave them to you for free. So all you billionaires could have paid the taxes too. I'm kind of torn on which one I think I should lean is actually cool and not.
Yeah. And keep in mind that giveaway was sponsored by Pontiac, so even Pontiac may have just footed the bill for the taxes too. So there's that.
And I don't know that. Maybe they
Yeah,
did cover everybody's taxes. I don't know that. I'm just asking, like,
yeah, that's what
a
I'm saying.
hypothetical.
Without all the information, it really is hard to give you a good answer on that question, because that's one of those things where, yeah, she could have stuck them with 5-10 grand in taxes, or they could have paid taxes and if each person had a nice car free and clear. Without knowing what happened in between that point, there's no way to answer the question really. It's one of those math equations where you can't answer it because you don't have all the numbers figured. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You ever notice the Family Feud will give away a car? If you're the winner for all week, and to be like 5, 6, 7 people in the family, and they give them a car with like 4 seats in it.
Yeah. It's usually a head turning Ford Fusion. That's what Steve Harvey used to say all the time. My friend's mom would watch that show, so I'd be in their house, and you could hear in the background, and it was so distinct every time Steve Harvey would say a head turning Ford Fusion.
Yeah, episodes my wife's been watching it lately. It's been either a Jeep Grand Cherokee or a Ford Escape Titanium that they've been giving away.
Yeah, I like his Jeep Grand Cherokees myself. I think they look pretty cool. I really just like the front grille and headlights on them.
Yeah, the catch is, Bernie, all these game shows take place in California, so you got to pay the California sales tax.
Oh shit, that's probably double what everybody else is. So back to Vince. Why'd he steal all that money if he's a billionaire, man? What's
Who
is this just some
knows?
kind of? I think it's just a I don't know. Uh, it looks worse than it is. It's just on the surface looks bad. He really didn't do nothing. Accounting
Ego?
error, something like that.
Well, that's why the SEC is looking into it, because there was a discrepancy in what WWE was calling their expense report, and the discrepancy in the expense report in their corporate earnings report that they have to file because of the stock and the being a public traded company and everything. And that number lines up exactly to what Vince McMahon was paying out to the women.
Oh, that's a coincidence. Well, I guess you'll just have to do an early morning raid, man. Go to his house, take all his boxes.
Why would Vince spend that money because he's a millionaire? That would have to go into like a psychological conversation because then we'd have to talk about narcissism and greed and arrogance and different stuff like that. So, I mean, there's plenty of reasons why. I mean, the simple reason is rich people didn't get rich by spending their money. Like Donald Trump, for instance, he, he's basically built his entire career off of being overwhelmingly in debt his whole career. And somehow, when you look at the final paperwork, he's worth, a couple $1 billion. But in reality, Donald Trump is just really good at moving debt around.
Another thing you got to look at, ego. From everybody says about McMahon, he's egotistical. And he is the single largest shareholder in that company and still thinks of the company as being his, that he can do whatever he wants with it. That's been stipulated about him too, which is why until he retired, he had final say on everything. And there's a lot of things he wouldn't listen to what anybody else had to say. You're running into the same thing with this. He thinks the company was his. He could do whatever he wanted with any of the money coming into that company. If you go down and follow that line of thinking, so there's that possibility as well. So, ego, narcissism, and just thinking that he could do whatever the hell he wanted because he's Vince McMahon and it was his company.
Well, say it was a private owned company, like it was Vince McMahon's Wrestling Federation, kind of like that. That's basically what his dad had anyway, right?
Yeah.
So Vince McMahon, the guy that we're talking about, owned it outright. No stockholders, private company. He could turn the lights off anytime he wants. He still couldn't have got away with it because they're gonna want to see his expense reports. Because he's gonna use it all as tax write-offs. It's the whole reason you have expense reports.
Well, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different if it's a privately owned company because, in the grand scheme of things, if it's privately owned and he is the owner of the company, he'd be stealing from himself.
No, no, only technically.
Yeah, that's why I say technically.
If you own a candy shop on the corner and it's Rich's Candy Shop,
Yeah,
and then you go in as
that.
Rich White and try to withdraw money from that, they're going to say no. You have to withdraw this and do this as Rich White's Candy Shop LLC.
Yeah,
So
I understand all that. But
yeah, that's what I mean. He would have got caught anyway.
Yeah, but not. It wouldn't have been the same situation because it wouldn't have been the SEC that was looking into him, for example, because they only deal with publicly traded corporations because it has to do with the stock market and everything. That's why the SEC is involved.
Okay, well, that may be true, but I'm saying as far as the government goes, plus he's going to have to show that he paid NDAs. I mean,
yeah,
the government knows that you pay off these bills because you have to do it in a courtroom. You know, it's not like, I mean, they're legal documents, so they know that you paid somebody to keep their mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one way or the other. I think sloppiness is the problem that Vince McMahon has got right now. Because Jason's right. He probably could have reached into his own pocket.
Oh, he definitely could have
reached into his own pocket.
He might have had to have liquidated something to do it, but he definitely could have done it.
He could have also liquidated the plaintiff as well. Allegedly.
Yeah, he could have. He literally could have liquidated some of his stock, paid these women off with the price that he got paid for the stock shares, and still had more stock in that company than everybody else on the planet combined. So I mean, it's really mind-boggling why he would take the corporate funds. Except the only thing that you come back to his narcissism, his ego, and thinking he could do whatever the hell he wanted because he's Vince McMahon, and that was his company. That's about it. That's about what it comes down to.
Well, couldn't them women be listed as like, oh, I don't know, like anything else, man? It was a corporate benefit, man. It was like, taking the convention or whatever, man. Couldn't them women just been like, corporate mood improvers or something?
Well, one of them, from what they were saying, they all at one point were employed by the company.
Well, and the problem, I think, and this is just me guessing right now, is with what Jason was just talking about, is all of these things started with potential criminal charges of sexual harassment or misconduct of some type with these women. So
yeah,
well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I don't know that that's the case. It could have just been an HR department thing. It might not have gone as far as, I've got my lawyer and I'm ready to press charges against Vince McMahon. I don't know that.
Yeah, as far as we know, I mean, none of these women have ever actually come forward in any capacity whatsoever with any kind of public statements or charges or any such. The only one we know for sure that he had any kind of sexual affair with, per se, is the first one, the intern, or not the intern. Was he? No, the paralegal. the paralegal that him and John Laurinaitis were passing back and forth. And like me and Kingpin were talking beforehand, if any of this ends up in criminal charges, those NDAs aren't worth the paper they're printed on at that point, because then they would have been entered into as part of a criminal enterprise, and legal documents entered into as part of a criminal enterprise no longer hold the statute that a honestly negotiated contract that involves no kinds of criminality whatsoever would entail. So those NDAs aren't worth the paper they're printed on if it's determined that Vince did something, outside the law. And at that point, every one of those women who they know who they are will be called to testify against Ms. McMahon in that case, and potentially could face charges themselves, which then they would testify as part of a plea deal so that they don't get charged. So every one of these women, eventually, if this goes to court, are going to end up on the witness stand.
Evening, Abigail. Thank you for joining us.
Evening, Abby.
So, what's the lesson learned in this? Ted Kennedy, your girlfriends when you got one, or don't get girlfriends?
Don't overpay and pay with your own money.
Yeah, pay with your own money. You want somebody to keep quiet, don't pay with money that you know is going to have to be accounted for later.
All right, check this scenario out. They got the Bunny Ranch thing, like the prostitution house out in Vegas or wherever that's at. Just imagine, this is all hypothetical, just imagine that Vince McMahon was an open John, and he went there legally and did everything completely by whatever the books say, but was open about every weekend going out and having a new chick or 15 chicks at the Bunny Ranch. Do you think people in society would be like, yeah, that's cool, good for Vince doing his thing, or do you think they'd be like, oh, shame on him?
Well, I think it would certainly be a section of the population that would be like, oh, shame on him for that. But here's the kicker, right?
Now, also, real quick, he's not cheating on his wife. He's not cheating on his taxes. He's not doing any of that. He's taking his own personal money and buying a bunch of hookers every weekend, and is open about it.
Well, yeah. Well, there's still going to be a certain amount of the population that be like, shame on him. I mean, because prostitution's bad. So Vince is bad for hiring prostitutes. So there's always going to be some part of the population that if he did that would be like, no, that's bad. Boo, Vince, boo. So, I mean, you got to look at it from that perspective. There's always going to be some element in the population who are going to say, bad boy to Vince for doing that. And here's the crazy thing, right? If he did that, if he went to the Bunny Ranch, claimed it was on a business trip, he could actually put that on his expense report and legally have it covered.
See, that's what I was getting at earlier. That's what I was looking for on the expense report. These women were just, emotional support.
Yeah, that doesn't work that way. It's a totally different situation, and because it wasn't business related. See, he could take, all you have to do if he were to take a trip to the Bunny Ranch, if he took somebody who was thinking of investing in the company, or if he took the head of programming for USA Network or Fox or any other the head of any other sponsor, the marketing director, whatever, for Pepsi or whatever, to the Bunny Ranch with them, that's written off as an expense and the company pays for it.
Only because it's legal in the location that he's doing it in.
Yes.
You step across the city limit line and you're back to bad boy.
Yes, if you do that in Las Vegas itself within the city limits, bad boy. You go to jail for that. But as soon as you're outside of the actual city limits of Las Vegas, it's legal again. which is why the Bunny Ranch is outside Las Vegas in the suburbs area somewhere, and not actually in the city itself.
Mr. Guns is in the house.
Evening, Stacy. Did we mention Rob? Rob's out there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got Rob, but we can say it again.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what's going on with Vince. As far as that was the latest. That yeah, he paid out more than what we originally thought. And the worst part is that number could still get bigger. And the bigger that number gets, the more likely he is to face prosecution. So we'll see where this goes. And just because he's 70 some years old doesn't mean they won't prosecute him. Bernie Madoff and old what's her face Martha Stewart aren't exactly spring chickens, and they both got the book thrown at them. So
yeah, but did Martha Stewart really do anything illegal?
yeah, she actually did something illegal.
Yeah, insider trading
Insider
and then lied
trading.
to the FBI about it.
Yeah, lying to the FBI in and of itself is a crime.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know that's she supposedly, but I'm saying the insider trading that she was being accused of, was that actually legitimate, or was there some shenanigans?
No, it was actually legitimate.
All right, okay. Well, she did her time. You know, she did her time standing on her head, so good for her. Bernie Madoff was just a straight up criminal preying on everybody he could. I think.
Oh yeah.
I don't care for Martha Stewart one way or the other, but I think she was more along the lines of just trying to, pad her pocket a little bit real quick.
Yeah. Well, all my point was that just because you're old doesn't mean they're not going to throw you in prison.
Yeah, Abigail said she didn't snitch. I heard she was actually pretty popular in prison. People seem to like her. Which is understandable, I guess. She seems like a pleasant enough person for the TV character that she is.
I've heard mixed things about her from people that have met her and whatnot. So
The only thing I know about her is once every 5 or 6 years, I'll see her on some type of Thanksgiving show making a turkey for.
Oh, you haven't seen the commercials with her and Snoop Dogg? Come on.
Yeah, ain't she racist though? Didn't she say the N word or something like that?
No, that was Paula Deen.
Ah, okay. Well, then cooking women always get me mixed up. Did Paula Deen cheat on her stock market too?
Probably. Probably.
She was in trouble for something. I don't remember what. They were investigating her for something. Abigail says, Bernie Madoff is a turd. Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Oh, well, getting back to the wrestling thing now, I guess we can get to the more fun aspect of the thing. We had somebody come back from injury on Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite. Not exactly somebody I cared that he came back, but somebody came back from his injury.
Not CM. No, don't even say it.
Yep. The person you were just gonna say, don't say it was, but yeah, that's who it was. Jumping up and down on one foot, showing that he could put weight on his foot. And got in John Moxley's face after saving him from a beatdown from Jericho and his goons.
So last week, CM Punk's foot was broken into so many pieces it was like dust wrapped in skin.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you can't always go by the rumor
mill. Like he was getting his foot amputated last week, Jason.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's what they made it sound like. But yep. So he made his return.
Well, they gotta have something over there.
Wrestling.
they got something over there besides Jericho, man. I think that whole wrestling thing just revolves around Jericho. They ought to just call it the Jericho Wrestling Network.
Real quick, just take a quick programming note. Abigail says, just a warning, I'm kind of buzzed and drinking out the bottle. I may say some Jacksonville things, and then she said CM Punk looks like he needs a shower.
Let's see.
As far as
I'll go through mine.
as far as I'm concerned, I've probably encouraged you to say some Jacksonville things, but this is also Rich White's channel, and I know he's very lenient. But you'd have to ask him as far as Jacksonville things go.
All right, what exactly are Jacksonville things?
I can't wait to find out, man. I'm just hoping you send us him some Jacksonville things.
Well, is she going to talk about how great the Jaguars are? That's a banning offense.
So, all right, is it a good thing or a bad thing that CM Punk is back? Is it going to help the channel or not?
Meh. I don't know.
I feel like CM Punk has still got a little bit of a surge in fanship. Like he's still quite popular, but it's not nearly as big as it used to be. I think there's a giant chunk of his fan base, which I'm still saying he still has a giant fan base, but I think a giant part of that giant fan base has bailed out on him. I think they're tired of it.
I was tired of them a long time ago. You know, when Punk and Colt Cabana were trying to sue the WWE for, well, their doctor for, misdiagnosing them with stuff and whatnot. And Punk swore up and down that he was going to help pay Cabana's legal fees. And then once the trial was over and they lost, him stiffing Colt Cabana and not paying a damn penny, that's when I decided to see him Punk could go to hell, and I don't give a fuck about the guy whatsoever at that point.
Now you're talking about this happened in real life. This is like
Yes,
two adults that
this was real life. CM Punk right then and there showed the kind of guy he actually is. Him and Colt Cabana were friends for years, and Punk just totally turned his back on him. I mean, they were doing a podcast together and everything, and Punk got him a tryout in WWE, which ultimately didn't lead to anything. But him and Cabana were tight, and he just threw Cabana to the side like he was nothing. And it was like when he insisted that if things didn't go their way, he was going to help with the court costs and everything, and left Colt Cabana, who was when you're on the independents working, you don't make anywhere near as much money as you did in WWE or now in AEW or New Japan. If you're running around doing the independent scenes like Ring of Honor and MLW and GCW, you ain't making the big bucks. You know what I mean? So for Punk to do what he did to Cabana, Punk's a son of a bitch, and I'm going to be straightforward with it. That guy can go fuck himself with a goddamn red hot curling iron for all I care.
Whoa. How much money did he make? How much money did CM Punk save or make or whatever in this whole deal?
Punk didn't make any money off it. They lost their case. See what happened? Punk told Cabana if they lost the case, or if the case was thrown out or anything, Punk would pay Colt Cabana's portion of the legal fees because he knew Cabana couldn't afford to. And when the case was thrown out by the judge, because essentially they lost their case, instead of upholding his written agreement that he had with Cabana, he stiffed him.
Now, this also was a case that CM Punk kind of encouraged this guy to get involved in, right?
Right.
So without CM Punk's word of honor as a friend, now we're talking about regular, normal, everyday life again, not wrestling characters. We're talking about real life human beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my friend, hey, Rich, let's go sue Rob D. I got your back if anything goes wrong. Here, I'll even write a contract down. That's what happened, right?
Yeah. Oh, it gets worse. it gets worse too, because then they were countersued for defamation of character by the doctor, and they lost that case as well.
Now, how much did that cost the Cabana guy?
I don't know the exact figures, but it wasn't cheap.
Defamation never comes out cheap.
Yeah, that's not cool, man. I can't get with that. That's pretty. I mean, I don't like CM Punk as the character, and then what I do know of whatever CM Punk was when he tried to fight in the UFC. Uh, I mean, I give him credit for his heart and trying, and at least being honest about his level of competition. But he just came across as kind of a jerk. And then if you tell this story that he screwed over one of his friends, that basically he tried to talk into all this stuff, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, and yeah, Punk is a piece of shit. That's all there's no two ways about it.
All right, you got your scouts, or not your scouts, whatever, your tower guards out in front of your zombie apocalypse fortress, and CM Punk comes walking up waving the white flag like, "Hey, I'm not a zombie. Can I come in and live with you guys?" Do you let him in or do you kill him?
Shoot him in the knee and let the zombies have at him.
Okay. In Minecraft. Susan might be listening.
Remember, you don't got to outrun all the zombies, just the slowest guy.
Yeah. Whatever happened with is the Sasha Banks saga settled yet? Are they coming back, or are they screwed, or what?
I have no clue. I haven't heard anything about that recently. So, what we've talked about, was it last week, is the latest that I've heard. Anything.
Is the West Virginia show going to be on television?
Yeah, that's next week's Dynamite, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to try to remember to watch that.
It's going to be the start of the Trios Tag Team Championship tournament, too. Basically, a six-man tag team championship they're coming up with. Which you'll see that in a lot of, like, New Japan has a trios.
No, wait. When you say trios, you're talking about teams of three, right?
Yes.
Okay. So each team has 3 men, and there's only 2 teams, which makes up 6 men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. But but you'll see that in New Japan. They've got one. All the Mexican federations have them. So, NWA used to have one. If you remember, the Road Warriors and Dusty Rhodes were the six-man tag team champions in the NWA. So, that is actually something that has history to it. WWF/WWE never had one, but Vince, I'm surprised they even had tag team championships, because Vince is not a fan of tag team championship wrestling. Let me see if I can spit this out. He was never a fan of tag team wrestling. So the fact that WWE even has tag team championships still is amazing. The fact that they tried doing a women's tag team championship is even more amazing.
All right. Imagine, if you will, and it's probably going to be impossible to really get a grasp of it because none of us have been alive and ever experienced it not being that way. What if there was no such thing as tag team wrestling? What if there was only singles matches? Do you think that'd be weird, or you think we'd just be like, "Oh yeah, that's normal"?
Well, from what we know, that would be weird. It'd be a culture shock, I guess you could say. Not a super major culture shock, but it'd still be a culture shock. Because we're just so used to it. tag team wrestling has its place.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with the stupid tag team matches, like the 6-man tag teams when there's 3 teams of 2. I don't get down with that. But 2 teams of however many people you want to put out there is fine with me.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with a regular tag team match.
I just watched the show. I'm trying to remember which one it was where they actually had a tornado tag team match. I can't remember who it was that had that.
A tornado tag team match?
Yeah, it's where all 4 men are legal at one time. Like we were talking about with when you have the no DQ tag team matches, they should just be tornado matches where everybody's legal, because what difference does it make if they tag or not? There's no rules. So
I call it a little bit of shenanigans. First, how do you tag a tornado? And second, if the tornado doesn't win every match, then come on. How do you pin a tornado? How do you make a tornado submit?
show it a picture of my mother-in-law.
Okay, that's valid. Okay, if you'd have said a picture of Midnight Range, I would have accepted that as well. Didn't they do something like the midgets like attacking the Big Show or something like that?
Okay, I read that wrong. The way I read it, I thought Rob said 5 midgets on some giant wood would be interesting to see.
All right, we know what kind of porn Rob's into. You're talking about like
Okay, he got the other wood in there now. Okay, we're sorry.
Yeah, they've done that kind of thing before. Where you had a bunch of midgets taking on a big guy. Andre the Giant did some of those exhibition things back in the day. And you'd have 2 jobbers take on like you were saying, Big Show in a match. The old-fashioned handicap match, 2-on-1, 3-on-1.
Okay, here's the scenario: round robin. So I need answers from both you guys, and I need answers from everybody in the chat if you'd like to play along. You go to any. You could pick whichever one of the companies you want to go to, but you're at the professional wrestling match and you got front row seats and you're ready to go in. And just before the show starts, one of the security guards comes up to you and says, "Hey, sir, or ma'am, because Abigail's out there, and so is Mystic. Uh, we have a chance for you to be a part of the show. If you'd like to be a part of the show, all you've got to do is when Hulk Hogan or whatever wrestler comes out and points at you, you stand up and yell at him, and then he's going to come over and drag you inside the ring and body slam you. In your current condition, I'm talking about like right now, positive life, the way you're sitting right now, would you let the big professional wrestler drag you out of your seat and body slam you once in the middle of the ring? You don't get anything out of it. They're not going to pay you to do it. Obviously, if they kill you or break your arm or something, they'll pay you. But I'm talking about, you just when it hurts like hell, it's all on you. When you miss the next 6 weeks of work, it's on you. But Randy Macho, well, I guess he's dead, so I don't know who wrestlers' names are.
Well, that would be a hell of a show with Randy Savage body slamming.
I don't know. Moxley picks you up and gives you a hard body slam like you would against any professional wrestler. Would you do it?
Yeah, why not?
I probably wouldn't let one of the big dudes do it. I'd let one of the women wrestlers do it. That would be more entertaining.
Jason just wants to cop a feel at the same time. That's all.
No, but to think about, everybody expects a great big dude to grab a nobody, and slam him. But if a woman grabbed a man from the crowd and slammed him, oh man, the house would come down, man. Greatest show ever.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Depends
I don't
on the
know.
woman.
I don't
If
know,
she gets
man.
somebody like Jade Cargill, people would expect her to be able to do that. Because I don't know if you've ever seen Jade Cargill, but she's she's tall for a woman, and she's fairly muscular.
Is that the girl from AEW?
Yeah, the black chick that's the TNT champion or
There's
the
a white.
TBS champion.
There's still this white girl that I see in the commercial that's holding another girl over top of her head with one arm and just staring at the camera like, what you got? And I don't know who she. I'm gonna have to take a picture of it next time I see the commercial and text it to you, Rich. So you can
Because I have not seen that commercial, so
Man, I don't weigh any more than most of the women that's out there wrestling on that. They could pick me up and power slam me. They could pile drive me off the top rope, man, with no problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine. I wouldn't imagine Bianca Belair would have any problem physically picking up anybody that's in the chat right now or on this panel. Not one bit.
Remember when Eddie Murphy had to fight that old lady in the alley in Harlem Nights?
Yeah.
And he went there and slugged her, and she was like, "Ooh, now we go. You hit like a bitch and shit." That's what it'd be like if we went up
you
against
shot
Bianca
off my pinky
Belair.
toe.
Yeah, you'd have to shoot the bitch's toe off, man. She'd kick your ass.
That'd be rough though, because it'd be super fun, and I guess it'd probably be worth it. But I don't know, man. You got to think you're probably going to be sore for the next week if one of those people pick you up and actually body slam you like hard, like they would do to a wrestler, not soft like they're going to do because they're at the county fair showing people how to do stuff. I don't know that wrestlers ever been to the county fair body slamming people. So
Yeah, this is Jade Cargill right here. She could definitely probably body slam any one of us.
yeah, I've seen that girl before.
Fuck body slammers. Fuck, she could take a gut punch. She'd be like I said, ooh, now we're talking.
So
Two Live Moo has joined us. The Scottish American has joined us. Good to see you, gentlemen.
and then fellas,
Hey guys.
so I'm thinking
They
what
just
else.
showed up when you had the muscle bitch put up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Their spidey senses were tingling. Trying to think what else is there to talk about. Really wasn't much of anything. It's been a slow week, and I haven't really been able to keep up with the wrestling news like I normally would with the wife having her surgery and stuff this week.
Does Jason have gunshots going off in his house?
Yeah, it's down the street.
Uh, as long as it ain't in your front yard, right?
Shit, they were going off the other day at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I think there was two of them shooting because some of the follow-up shots here and there were too fast. But I think they were just out in the yard doing it.
Yeah, after the first pop, I was like, that's a gunshot. Nah, it couldn't be. It's probably just Rich playing with his knife or something. And then the second
Yeah.
pop, I was like, no, that's gunshots.
No, that wasn't me.
Yeah, but the thing about the gunshots, one thing, but you don't hear no screaming, no cussing, no crying, no, panic uproars going on. So if you don't hear none of that, it's just somebody shooting into the ground or a tree or something.
And if you don't see anybody getting screamed at half an hour later and packing their stuff up and, having to move out of their house, you know that they didn't just buy a Glock.
You bought a Glock, you son of a bitch! Get out of here!
I'm going to disown you from this family.
Them's are grounds for divorce.
Your Honor, she brought home a black Glock. I rest my case.
Well, what if it was a flat dark Earth clock?
Your Honor, she brought home another Glock. That's all I have to say.
And it cost her $100 more to change the color
Hmm.
And the sights. $200.
and the trigger and the slide.
And she told people it was mine. I'm suing her for that, man.
That's cause for
She
defamation right
she
there.
put that thing on my bed and told people it was mine. I'm suing her. I
Oh
want
man,
$10 million.
that's worse than Amber Heard taking a dump on Johnny Depp's bed.
Yeah, I'd rather have poopy than a Glock.
Yeah, you better hire Project Veritas's lawyers. I mean, that's a defamation case right away.
Mhm.
Oh, the shots are going off again. Now they sound like they're much, much farther away. So you barely hear them.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
I, don't know if the type is screwing up or something. Because it says that barbecue says you almost bought a hockey this week.
Hey, you got to ask Rick over at Rick's Life if you're allowed to have a gun with any kind of gold trim on it because he's the gatekeeper of the gold trim guns. And seeing how you bought a hockey, then I guess never mind. So you can do whatever you want.
You bought a hockey stick with a slide on it.
Actually, Kingpin, I came across Beretta parts this week that were like were gold plated or whatever, and I was like, oh man, but they didn't have every part, or I'd be pimping right now, buddy. I was gonna throw it on a stainless steel gun with some pearl grips or something. All the all the levers and hammers and triggers and mag release, all that gold. Oh, that'd been sweet, man. But they didn't have it all, man. They only had like half the parts. So I was like, well, that's dumb.
Now, does anybody want to try and figure out what gun a hockey is? I'm wondering if it's a Glock because Glock and hockey kind of sort of rhyme. What do you guys think the hockey is? Moose says Glock.
H&K.
Yeah, make sure you talk louder because he's blind. So we got to speak up so he can hear us.
Uh-huh. I'm surprised he hasn't let us know yet. Or he's so embarrassed that he ran and hid.
Or he's cussing and screaming, calling us all kinds of MFers. And then he's got to calm down before he starts typing again.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a show if the two of us weren't cussing each other out.
Yeah, I don't know. My mind's a blank, man. Hockey,
Yeah,
firearms, H&K, a high point. I don't know.
that one is a hmm. Spell checker screwed something up there, and we ain't sure what. Oh my God, Scotsman's blind and deaf.
That's good because I hated people that look at me when I'm talking to them.
Barbecue still hasn't clarified.
He's super pissed.
Hmm.
Yeah, he probably went ahead and bought it, man. And now we're making fun of it.
Hockey's one of those Glocks you buy off the guy at the street corner when he opens up his jacket. Hey, look, I got a Rolex and a Glock and
And M&P.
some Ray-Bans.
It's like the scene in Trading Places when Dan Aykroyd's in the pawn shop trying to sell his watch, and he's like, "How much is the gun?" Like the guy opens his coat and he's like, "I got this watch, I got this necklace," and Barbecue's like, "Yeah, how much is the gun?"
That was a good old movie right there. What was his name? Lewis?
Yeah, Lewis Winthorpe. I think the third, maybe. I can't remember.
Pork bellies.
$50 outside the grocery store.
And the two old guys from Trading Places, the ones that made the bet. What other movie did they appear in starring Eddie Murphy?
Coming to America.
Yep. And they were dirt poor, living on the street.
Yeah, they were living by the river, homeless camp.
Uh-huh.
They stopped and gave him a bag of money or something.
So we got any more wrestling news?
Not really. Like I said, I really haven't been paying attention this week. It's been a slow week, and with what with the wife's surgery and everything, I just really haven't been paying attention. Really haven't been paying attention to much of any news, wrestling news or otherwise. To be honest with you.
Oh, well, I'll catch you up on the regular news. The walls are closing in on Donald Trump. I mean, that's basically, in a nutshell, that's all you need to know is the walls are closing in.
Yeah, I believe you're right. They'll find something. They'll make up something. They can't risk it. They can't have him around no more.
Scientists are still working on the equation to try to graph exactly how far these walls are apart from each other because there's not a number known to humanity big enough to describe it, but they are closing in still.
Rob's asking how she's doing. Yeah, she's still sore, obviously, but she's getting up and around. She hasn't had any kind of fever or any signs of infection or anything, and hasn't been any post-op bleeding or anything along those lines. So she's progressing as expected. She's can't do much. She's still on painkillers and whatnot. So it's got her sleep where she'll be up doing something. The next thing you know, she's laying on the or sitting on the love seat and falling asleep and whatnot. So basically, what's to be expected after somebody had surgery 3 days ago, 4 days ago, whatever it is now. I'm like Tuesday, so yeah, that would have been 4 days ago, wouldn't it? Yeah. See, my shit's all screwed up because of hers being all screwed up. So it's like I almost forgot it was Saturday until I saw Rick went live earlier.
Oh yeah, I got the notice. I was working, man. I didn't get to tune in. I miss old Rick.
Yeah, but I was doing something I couldn't jump on.
I had a pretty good one today. Like I said, I was able to listen to the whole thing and able to chat through most of it. And it was Rick, Squib, and Rob. They had a pretty decent conversation today. Until they started going all wackadoodle about Donald Trump, like with their TDS.
Rob says you're not taking advantage of her being drugged, are you? Not unless I want to put her in the hospital. None of that kind of stuff for 10 weeks, they said. So it's going to be a while.
See, you're not thinking economically, Rich. You got to go through her purse and take her money and stuff like that.
What money?
Did you tell doctor give you a righteous stitch? Can't expect for something if you don't ask for it.
That was funny.
Rob says I'm probably skipping the chores and blaming the kids. Nope, nothing along those lines, Rob. Shit, I missed Gary's show last night because I passed out. I mean, my sleep's just as fucked up as hers is right now.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Are we both making a comment on Moo's comment?
I'd tell him to sew it shut. I'll work it loose.
Anyway, I think we should probably wrap this up because it doesn't look like we got much more to go on this one. And I'm beat still. So, Kingpin, you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Oh, thanks for everybody for showing up and hanging out, having a good show. Everybody take it easy. Have a good night.
All right. What about you, Jason?
Yeah. Just say good night to everybody, man. Good to hang out with y'all.
Yep. And on that note, we will say good night and catch you all hopefully tomorrow night for This Week Unloaded, which I still have no idea what we're going to talk about on that one. So I'll try and come up with something. If not, we'll just do a bullshit session like we did last week. So until then, have a good night, everybody. And yeah, you know, the thing.
Yeah.
You guys are probably really scared right now, and I understand that completely. But I get the better of the deal, and even though it's 3 versus 2, you guys are outnumbered because we're better than you guys. Yeah, we are. We're legends in our own mind compared to you guys. Even though you guys got the egos, we have got the wrestling skill. And this guy right here, we're the Space Cowboys.